It's my great pleasure to introduce our next panel, and let me introduce the moderator, and then the moderator will introduce the panelists. And this is a panel on HBCU in transportation research. It will be moderated by Don Tucker Thomas. And Don currently serves as a grant manager, University grant manager in the Office of Assistant Secretary for Research and Technology at the U.S. Department of Transportation. And Don administrates CCAT grant. Don seeks to ensure the surface transportation research grant awarded to the university promote advanced innovative solutions and technologies that accelerate transportation technology and deployment. She has championed eliminating barriers, promoting opportunity for women and minorities, and supporting the department's diversity, equity, and inclusion goals as part of the program's workforce development component. She recently worked in the Office of Public Engagement on a special detail assignment with the Transportation Secretary's senior advisors, focusing on coordinating transportation equity and related stakeholder engagement as part of a comprehensive strategy. Don has almost 30 years of experience in various transportation fields, from transportation planning, aviation policy, and rulemaking, airport operation, air carrier management, and traffic control integration research, transportation research analysis, and airport and air carrier compliance and enforcement. Don received an undergrad degree in airway science program from Hampton University, and a graduate degree in transportation from Morgan State University, and also a law degree from Concord Law School. She is a former African American Federal Executive Association Fellow and Dwight Eisenhower Transportation Fellow. She's also a recent honoree of the Conference of Minority Transportation Officials 2022 Women Who Moves the Nation Award. Don?
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank Shelby Scales for stepping in and representing the Department of Transportation and providing you with an overview of my office, the Office of the Assistant Secretary for Research and Technology. And unfortunately, Dr. Robert Hampshire, who's a former professor here, was not able to come. He's had to recuse himself from any interaction with the University of Michigan. So Shelby Scales, she's his surrogate, and she was able to step in and present for him. I also want to thank Dr. Henry Liu. I've been working with him since 2016 when he was awarded this grant. And it has just been a remarkable experience watching this center grow, develop, and flourish. So, thank you for everything that you have been doing to support your connected and automated vehicle community. Henry did mention earlier the big elephant in the room. Yes, we are working on the notice of funding opportunity right now for the UTC program. When the bipartisan infrastructure law was signed by President Biden this past November, the funding did not come with it. So, the UTC program was authorized underneath that piece of legislation. However, the funding did get attached once Congress made their decision and figured out the budget. So that's why we started to work on it this past March. It's a work in progress right now. It will be forthcoming here, hopefully within the next couple of months. Since 2010, I've been working with the University Transportation Centers program, and prior to that, I was overseeing advanced research program grants. But with working with the UTC program, part of my role, part of my collateral duty, was to increase the role and encourage more historically black colleges and universities and other minority-serving institutions, such as our tribal colleges and universities, our Alaskan Native-serving institutions, our Hispanic-serving institutions, to participate in this program. So this has been a daunting task, needless to say. We have not had, when I first started in the program, we had very little participation. Now we have significantly grown. We do have about 14 HBCUs that are involved with the program. We have 2 tribal colleges and universities, Navajo Technical University, as well as Nebraska Indian Community College. So I just wanted to echo the words that Congresswoman Stevens stated earlier. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is very important as we continue to innovate. So we do not leave behind major segments of our society. And that's very key as we move forward in our work. So I'm going to stop talking from here and introduce our panelists. The first I want to introduce, and he's going to join us virtually, is Dr. Ronnie Shroudery. He is the Eugene Douglas Mays Chair in the Transportation Glenn Department of Civil Engineering at Clemson University. He is also a professor of the Department of Automotive Engineering and Division of Computer Science at the School of Computing. Dr. Shroudery is the founding director of one of our centers, the Center for Connected Multimodal Mobility. He is the co-director of the Complex Systems Analytics and Visualization Institute at Clemson. He's an alumnus of the National Academy of Engineering Frontiers of Engineering program, and he is a member of the TRB Committee on Intelligent Transportation Systems, a fellow of the American Society of Civil Engineers, and a senior member of the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. I also want to introduce to you our next panelist, Dr. Ramani Kandia. Dr. Ramani holds a PhD in civil engineering. He is a registered professional civil engineer in Ohio, a certified professional hydrologist, a board-certified environmental engineer, and an Envision sustainability professional. His research interests include transportation-related air and noise pollution, modeling and environmental impacts of renewable energy. He currently works as a professor at Central State University, and he is also a partner with the USDOT Center for Automated and Connected Transportation, led by Dr. Henry Liu here at the University of Michigan. My third panelist, Dr. Haydar Taimurleh. Dr. Haydar is an assistant professor in the Department of Technology and Security at Bowie State University. He teaches a variety of courses related to cybersecurity. One of his most important roles as an educator is to train students to succeed both their academic and professional pursuits. His research is focused on methods for securing computer technology systems. He draws on principles such as zero trust, blockchain, machine learning, and zero-knowledge proofs to create more secure computing environments. Dr. Haydar has published research topics such as Internet of Things, network security, and dark data. He is currently working on research for applications of blockchain to supply chain management. He is also the director of the Cybersecurity Squad at Bowie State University. He coordinates hackathons to enhance student understanding of complex computer security topics, and students complete projects using technologies such as mobile apps and Raspberry Pi. Dr. Haydar served as a senior programmer at the National Aeronautics and Space Administration Goddard Space Flight Center for 9 years. His work focused on securing classified satellite communications. He received his Doctor of Science in Computer Science from Bowie State University in 2013. His dissertation was on an effective methodology for processing and managing massive spacecraft data sets. While the panelists are coming up here to the stage, I do want to let you know that with the research priorities within this past legislation for the UTC program, Cybersecurity is one of them. So that's going to be key as the universities write their proposals. Dr. Shroudery, can you hear us?
Yes, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yes, yeah.
I wanted to start off by allowing each of the panelists to talk about their universities and the work that they're doing, some of the partnerships that are going on, as well as the research activity. So we're going to start off with Dr. Ronnie Shroudery with Clemson University.
So you can see my slides. All of you can see my slides, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. Hi, so I'm glad to be able to talk to you today. I could not come in person. Actually, I have a 2-day workshop in Atlanta, so I'm actually talking from a hotel room in Atlanta today. So I will focus today on the collaboration we have with HBCUs through our center, C2M2. So this is our HBCU partnerships and overall our center makeup. So we have 4 other universities in addition to Clemson. We have SC State University, Citadel, University of South Carolina, and Benedict College. And here are the pictures you're seeing for our associate directors leading each of the partner institutions. And we also have SCDOT as our founding partner. So now for our HBCU initiatives, we have a primary group. So this group actually dictates what will happen in terms of our diversity, equity, and inclusion. So Dr. Vareva Harris, she's the vice president at Benedict College, chairs the committee. So she's our leader. And we have also Judith Makalonje, Dr. Godwin from SC State. Judith is from SC State. Dr. Bamalu, he's the vice president for research at Benedict College. And we have Dr. Jamad, Gurchan Jamad from Benedict College. So just to let you know, we just received, because of the collaboration we have, we received an international recognition for leadership in ITS. So the alliance started in 2017 with the creation of our C2M2 and funding from USDOT. We previously worked with SC State and Benedict, but not at a scale that started in 2017. So, and we did so many things. Don was mentioning that the growth over the years of since the UTC started in 2016, 2017. So we are just in awe that what we accomplished through the collaboration of SC State and Benedict College. So also Clemson is a major partner in promoting diversity and inclusion. So every year, Clemson University has a major national conference on men of color, and our center is a major partner in the men of color. So we participate, we volunteer. So this year also we are volunteering, and we also have an outreach event at the Men of Color Summit. So this have been a great opportunity for us to recruit students and promote our center. So we regularly go to different college campuses, especially HBCU college campuses, and show our technology. So we show how the autonomous vehicles work and how we can make it cyber secure. So and we regularly go to different HBCUs, not only Benedict and SC State, other HBCUs, and try to recruit students. And also we use that as an outreach event to actually promote transportation among minority students. So, and we had a great success. We had many students joining us because of our outreach events. So we also bring in high school students, middle school students at Clemson, and they build autonomous cars and they learn about cybersecurity. So we have competitions on cybersecurity. And then we teach classes, we give lectures at different HBCUs, like here. So one of my classes at Benedict College with the Benedict College student. And we have different initiatives that are just focused on HBCUs. So like we had a Future Leaders program. And that was, we brought in different speakers, and the students had a 3-minute leadership talk, so competition. So, and we engaged a lot of students from HBCUs through these initiatives. And also we have training workshops. So, and this is targeted just towards HBCUs. So here are some examples. We taught Python coding, cloud computing, autonomous vehicle design, GIS applications. So I'll just give you an example how it works. So we found out that Benedict College computer science program did not have any specific section on Python programming, and then and also cloud computing. So what we did, I taught 4-week class. So they have this 1 semester class. Within that 1 semester, we taught 4 weeks of that class on Python coding or cloud computing. So it became a part of their overall course. So if we saw that they are missing any part in their course syllabus, so we try to compensate that with expertise from other centers. So we have been doing this very successfully. So this year we are involved in teaching quantum AI class to the students at Benedict College. So also what we believe that if we just invite the HBCUs to do projects in our labs or research, it would not be optimal. So what we try to do throughout our UTC years, we try to establish the labs at the HBCUs. So yeah, we have that lab, say in autonomous vehicles, but we establish the lab at the HBCU. So that way they own the lab, their students are working there all the time throughout the semesters in the summer. So, so that is actually our vision and mission, that establish the labs at the HBCUs, and then the students and faculty can lead those labs. And we are helping them to establish the lab and move along the way. So we have a very sophisticated smart city testbed in Clemson. The whole city is connected, and we test autonomous vehicles, connected vehicles. We have a very large cybersecurity testbed. So we do a lot of cybersecurity testing on the cyber physical systems of transportation. So, and this is an example. We have a pedestrian collision warning application at different intersections and in our smart city testbed. And initially it was developed with the collaboration of Benedict College and Clemson University. So this is a very unique application. So we developed using a very inexpensive video camera. We generated basic safety messages, and also we developed a risk profile that based on the data that we collect from the intersection, what is the probability that there will be an accident? And when we saw that there is a probability of a crash between a pedestrian and approaching vehicles, we immediately warned the pedestrian through audible or through an or through visually, both, and the pedestrian is alerted that there is an imminent crash. So we'll only send the message when we see that there is an imminent crash possibility. And it just, so you see that's just visually showing the pedestrian is crossing the road. Maybe there's he's not looking at the approaching car. The approaching car maybe because of the sight distance is not looking at the pedestrian. But our this video camera and an edge computing that is running artificial intelligence algorithm is determining that there is an imminent crash. Once we see that there's an imminent crash, we actually warn the pedestrian and also the approaching vehicles that just take cover, you are about to be in an accident. So, and you see this is in the vehicle. So if you have a vehicle app, you can also see the this pedestrian safety warning. So this is a very useful technology. As you know, pedestrian accidents are increasing. So this can help reducing pedestrian crashes significantly. And this was done with the collaboration. Again, I said that an HBCU, they were a major partner. And we are actually, after we implemented this in Clemson, we're implementing the same technology at Benedict College and SC State. So we started here. Now we are deploying it at other parts of our center, especially at HBCUs. So, as I mentioned that we teach a quantum AI course. for Benedict College and SC State. And also we have a research group called Quantum AI Research Groups. So we have many, many students from Benedict College, SC State participating. And also the Benedict and SC State students co-authored a paper, two papers and that were presented at TRB this year, both on quantum AI. So we taught a class recently, and one student mentioned that after taking this class, he really wants to go to graduate school and study AI. So they were so excited. And so last week I went to Benedict College to give a presentation on quantum AI. And I had several students contacting me later that they want to go to graduate school and work on quantum AI. So I think the value of outreach is huge. And if you can make them motivated. So we have awesome students from all these HBCUs that I have few there, just really awesome. So now, again, I said that our philosophy is to establish a lab, not at like at Clemson, but do it at an HBCU. So our quantum AI lab headquarters is at Benedict College. So now they are dedicating spaces for this quantum AI lab, and they're also creating cyber lab. And everything have been possible because of the collaboration through the UTC. So they have now, they are buying equipment, and so they are just furnishing several labs at Benedict College. And so we are very proud of the quantum AI lab that we have established at Benedict College. And we are providing some resources such as computing and other, but they're also purchasing a lot of resources through other sources. So we have another very successful series, Path to Entrepreneurship, and academic, two series actually. One is academic careers and entrepreneurship. Director Shelby Scales, so she's a big supporter of our this Path to Entrepreneurship, and so she have introduced our this series a couple of times, and they have been very successful and well attended, and we had national speakers and panel members. So we had this Path to Academic Career. So we had these sessions, Morgan State University participated, SC State, Benedict College. So we were trying to describe what are there in the academic career, so how they can prepare for it and what they can expect in the academic career. So yeah, we had good participation through this series. And then this is a very successful series, so Path to Entrepreneurship for HBCU students. So sometimes students don't know the opportunities that exist. So through our local business development authority, like SCRA is in our state, they promote new businesses. So we organized several Path to Entrepreneurship series, and they were all well attended, and we had very good results. So recently we had a business pitching contest, so that was successful. So several students from Morgan State, SC State, Benedict College participated, and they were like entrepreneurs, famous entrepreneurs all over the country who judged this talk and provided valuable feedback. So planned activities, because we are always moving. So we have the Smart City Testbed, and we are replicating the Smart City Testbed at SC State and Benedict College. So for example, Benedict College is working with AT&T and a couple of other companies to make this happen. So we are doing the same thing at Benedict and SC State. In addition to that, we also work together to work with the Federal Motor Carriers Administration or other agencies to seek additional funding to create these labs at HBCUs. So recently, so we have been very fortunate to have a great relationship with COMTO. We had recently a talk with, we had a couple of talks, but recently I talked with the President April Rai. She's the president of COMTO. And our Dawn received a major award from COMTO recently. So we talked about that. So Dawn have been wonderful in supporting us and teaching us how we can do better with the collaboration. So, but right now, what we are doing, we are creating an environment that so our center can bring in many HBCUs that has a transmission program in COMTO, And we are also working on organizing different workshops with COMTO. So they are now a major partner in our effort to involve HBCUs. So they have been super helpful and providing us guidance and getting us involved. So in July, there will be a conference in COMTO conference in Fort Lauderdale. So yeah, so I think some of you may join. It will be wonderful. So yeah, we'll be attending it. So there is a major lab planned at Cyber Physical Systems. This picture is from a recent visit. So we visited all the labs and the labs that we are creating at Benedict College. So we have third from the left, Dr. Bamalu, Vice President for Research. So he has been a wonderful partner in creating the labs at Benedict College. So right now we are planning to buy a quantum computer for Benedict College. So we are trying to seek support so that so it would be very great. So because it's, as you know, it's very expensive. Like it probably varies. Like it can go up to 10 million to get a lab quantum computer for our Benedict College lab. So we are trying to do that right now. Get a quantum computer from a company called T-Wave. So this is just a snapshot of what we are doing, but we have a lot of reports and other like documents that showcase the successful endeavors between HBCUs and us. And we are really fortunate to have this relationship. Actually, we were stronger because of the this collaboration with HBCUs. Thank you. And I want to thank Dawn because everything is possible because of Dawn, because she's my mentor on how to do this. Yeah, thank you.
So you just press down to advance the slide. Put down there. It's this one. Okay. And then just make sure to-
Hello, good afternoon. So first of all, that I came from a civil engineering and environmental engineering background, and currently in a program that is environmental engineering. So our program do not directly involve into transportation, but most of our research are part of transportation. So that is what our program comes in. So now let me go into that. So my presentation here is not mostly on the research, but the academic side as a chart to tell you the issues and the advantage that is the transportation and environmental engineering can have. So if you look into this data, if you look into this, African American population in US is almost 13.4%. But if you look into the transportation-related one, and on the left-hand side here, if you look into that, you have around 19% in the total transportation field. But what you have to look into that is when you look into the Bachelor of Civil and Environmental Engineering degrees in 2019 and 2020, if you look into that African American population, it is only come 4%. So that shows when you have the demography that is 13%, and you have the graduate actually 4%. So there is a lot to be done on that part in this field. First, that's the reason when you look into that, what is minority serving institution? And there are historically black colleges and universities and Hispanic serving institutions and Asian American and Native American Pacific Islanders serving institution and tribal colleges and other things. So my focus is on this one. My university is Central State University is a HBCU, so that's what my focus is. So if you look into that, there are 101 HBCUs, and that is 52 of them is public, and private is 49. I'm not going to detail into the rest of the thing. I'll move into next. So if you look in the transportation tracks in the HBCUs, some of the large universities, the Howard universities, and they have actually civil engineering and transportation up to doctoral level. And Hampton University actually has aviation management, administration, and aviation traffic control. And if you look few other universities, they have transportation, and Morgan State University even transportation system engineering. But at the same time, they are giving actually under the civil engineering or transportation program. But when it comes to a college like Clemson State University, we are basically having an environmental engineering degree, but we do a lot related to environment and transportation. So that is the whole point I'm trying to make it over here. So when it comes to Clemson State University, we do 3 things related to transportation. One is our environmental engineering and water resources program. We have some transportation-related courses. That is water transportation systems. That is one of the courses we have it. And then we do engineering hydrology and urban water problems. So each of them, we handle different issues of transportation. If you look into the environmental hydrology, we deal with the flooding and the climate change and flooding, how the transportation get impacted. And then when you look into the urban water problem, actually, if you have when the snow time, we are going to have a lot of salt put into the water on the roads. So all of them get into urban area water bodies. So how they are impacting, that is again transportation-related problem, environmental problem that we have. Then it comes to air quality engineering. That is transportation-related air and noise problem. That is where we do a lot of research. I'm coming to next slide on that one. And then we do a few other courses, GIS system and solid and hazardous waste management. That is actually, we have a lot of the waste collection and actually scheduling and transportation-related ones. So we actually involved in this component in different ways. Then we come to research. Let me spend a little more time over here that is related to us here. Research actually, Clemson State is involving with transportation-related air quality and noise research since 2008. We started with Ohio Transportation Consortium with University of Akron leading it. Mostly we look into that, how in Ohio, this is one of the features, the second one you can see it, how in Ohio roads actually the air pollution is because of the transportation. So we use the modeling and some measurements. So these are the patterns that it comes out of that. So this is, we did 4 different air pollutants and we look into that one. So that is, we did that one. And then we have it with the next trans, that is another UTC with Purdue leading, and other 7 institutions where they are including University of Michigan. In that, we look into the greenhouse gas emissions in the Midwest. Actually, we look into that around 6 states. We look into that, how the greenhouse gases in different emissions, and it comes up. So that is one of the research we have done. And in that one, actually, Purdue helped us in a way, having some of our students every year doing the internship in their university. That's one. Now, currently with our CCAT, actually for the last 6 years, we are doing the research that on developed vehicles as real-time sensors for assessing greenhouse gases. So we try to see when we are connected vehicles and goes, like so if you look into that, if you have a connected vehicle, and then let's say in 5 miles, 6 miles ahead, if you have a really heavy traffic congestion, if it releases the emissions, we are trying to have a sensors and apps we actually developed to see how we can actually let the vehicles, say, take different ways to go. So that is the research currently we are doing it. And we are working that currently with our computer engineering department on that. Then the other thing that we are doing a lot on that is, since 2008, Federal Highway and Ohio Department of Transportation actually supports high school students to have a summer transportation institute that is actually Every summer, we have 4 weeks. Student comes and stays in Center State, the accommodation to all the things supported by Federal Highway Administration and ODOT. And we look into that. We are teaching the students on air, land, water, and environment-related field trips and hands-on and some teaching. The main reason for that is actually get the students into these transportation-related programs. So actually, if I can say, we got some students from this one, and we actually graduated with the environment engineering field, and they went to do masters on that. So this is actually one of the feeder mechanisms for us to our program in that one, and they did this one. So when it comes to what is the lessons we learned on this one is basically the transportation, actually it is Center State University was able to produce professional that is from the underrepresented communities to the transportation workforce, and actually making awareness of the transportation career path to the underrepresented communities to the workforce. So that what I'm saying is not only actually hardcore our civil engineering related transportation, even the people would go into the field, economics, or even manufacturing engineering and other stuff that is related to transportation. So we did that with our program. And then again, we are collaborating with larger research institutions, governmental and industrial partners. That gives our students research and internship opportunities to work on it. So what we need in the future as a small program, we look into that, is we are looking into have a minor in transportation, given the situation we have it. So we are, with the environment engineering, we are trying to look into put students in a minor in transportation. So in that is the one what we are dealing with at this point. So, and then one more thing I want to say in this one is, in addition to all the stuff, when we did this research on air pollutions on the roads and the neighborhood, and we look into that, another thing actually popped up. So if you have hot spot in air pollution and everything, and that area connected to the areas with poor neighborhoods, and even that is not connected much to the other stuffs. So actually, at this point, we are actually talking with our social science departments to bring it in to do some research on actually transportation-related justice, equity, and access to all things. So that is one of the things we do. Thank you very much. So I didn't go really full into research given the thing on the topic, so that's what it is. Thank you.
Am I going wrong? Dang. Hello, everybody. My name is Haydar Temurli. I'm a faculty in the Bowie State University in the Bowie, Maryland, and of course, the Department of Technology and Security. I have received my PhD in the computer science back in 2013 from Bowie State. I teach various security courses, cybersecurity courses like cryptography and intrusion detection and OS security. Also, I'm a director of the Cyber Squad. Cyber Squad, it is the group of students that we pick from the students. They have a high talented. I train them, and they join the hackathon and across the United States. However, past 2 years, because of the pandemic, we have to do it, even hackathon virtually. It was kind of challenging, but we did get around them. In the past, I'm a former employee of the NASA, Goddard Space Flight Center, over the Maryland. I worked over 9 years there. Of course, this one is most of my technical skill that worked there, I brought it to the university. My research area around, and of course, securing the computer system, and then of course, my recent research that I am involved right now, it is zero trust, blockchain, machine learning, other technology around that, and of course, I'm working Internet of Things and network security, and the very new one I'm working on, the dark data. If any of you not familiar, what's the dark data? Dark data, it is, as I said it, I'm a former NASA employee. We collect the terabyte of data daily. However, what percentage of that we use? About 5%. Rest of that data, we restore them in the warehouse and then whatever. So as a security, I am very interested to find out what's on that dark data can help us to secure into whatever we do. And related to this conference, I have a capstone class that I am teaching. I'm teaching in this class is supply blockchain management, and this is a project funded by the Minor Corporation. There's a two projects, one in the mobile system, zero trust in the mobile system. Another one is this one. I have about 32 students in this class. I split this student into the 4 groups, and I treated this project just like a student graduated. They are in the workplace, and they're going to be working. And so that means in one group, group 1, responsible to create an acceptable use policy. And then group 2 is responsible design and develop an actual software. In this case, they build in blockchain, and then they build in the app that will access to the data from the secure location. And then group 3 is supposed to be responsible designing the network around this research. Finally, I think previous panelists talked about the testing. Me as a former NASA employer, we have to do not 100% security around the spacecraft. That means 250%. And then, of course, I heard the previous panelists from Virginia Tech and others said that, yes, we are getting there. We have technologies right here. We send an unarmed vehicle all over, not only in the Mars, we send them other planet, and then we do technologies here. We just need to get the idea to see, especially that earlier that you guys were talking about, vehicle-to-vehicle communication to secure it. And then I'm going to stop here, Ms. Donna.
Thank you. Historically, the UTC program, historically black colleges and universities were earmarked. And then in 2012, the program was open to full and open competition that all universities could compete. And I work with about 149 universities right now. That's as many that's involved in this program as we speak. So my questions are to you both. I'm not sure if Dr. Rodney Shroudery can still hear me or not, but what are the challenges and the barriers that your HBCUs face when you're applying for federal contracts or grants or cooperative agreements with the federal government?
With respect to transportation, we haven't did that alone yet. Only thing we did it with the Department of Transportation to start a program in transportation engineering. It is like 3 years back. It didn't work out. So that may not be because different reasons, not this one. But when we come to other grants, we basically focus on HBCU-related funding that we were able to get. That was okay. But that is not a transportation-related. And since we are land grant, that is okay too. But otherwise, transportation-related, to be honest, we have to look into that alone. That's the thing, because UTC, yes.
So in our institution, the biggest challenges that we are facing, of course, getting funding, and then we do not have a proper infrastructure to do this kind of research. And thanks to pandemic, now it is made our job much difficult. So it is a good idea to, we get partnered with other institutions. They can share their lab with our students. And of course, many obstacles we have. One of the biggest one that we do not have a proper infrastructure.
So Don, I don't know if you can listen, can you hear me, Don?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, so one problem I saw with our partners, smaller universities or smaller HBCUs, they don't have the infrastructure, not only the labs, but also in terms of creating the invoices regularly. So they all had that challenge, but I think the UTC program helped them to hire people, but I think there could be more support to create such infrastructure. In addition to the labs, also in the other side of the research, like accounting and stuff. So I think so that could be, I see that sometimes is an obstacle.
Yeah, and what I wanted to focus on with you, Ronnie, was the work that you've done with Benedict College and South Carolina State University. And I wanted to hone in on Clemson State University because they're a prime example. They have stepped in and reached out to these HBCUs to help them get additional funding to create and fund these labs through the National Science Foundation. So, my question to you is, with your work with with Benedict College as well as South Carolina State University, what ways can HBCUs contribute to transportation research and workforce development?
So one example you provided. So when we went for national projects like the NSA for Federal Motor Carriers or DOE. They will lead. So they may have 75% of the funds, but if we have 25 or 20, so we are very happy. Sometimes, Clemson did not have any funding, but still we were a partner because we were able to do it through C2M2 funding. So different ways, but our main goal was that they will lead it. So they will lead the project and we'll just be in a supportive role. And that helped them to develop this, like the research enterprise, if I would say that, because after this collaboration, they received so many other fundings from so many other agencies. That really helped. And my goal was that, I'm not going to, I have very little interest on my personal side. But we wanted to see them become leaders in their area, like in cybersecurity or in cyber physical systems. So that helped when they took the leadership. And in terms of the educational programs, so I mentioned that. So if they have, we saw that they have like maybe they don't have a very good GIS divisions, but Clemson has a very strong GIS division. So we offered, through our GIS division, we offered courses at Benedict College and SC State, and so just regular course. So our GIS faculty taught those courses at Benedict College, and so it benefited them very well. And also they have free access to the GIS software, because sometimes they could be very expensive. So all the Benedict College students and SC State students, we gave them a Clemson user ID, and they were able to access all the software we have. I see that is one way that when we buy expensive software, so we buy it probably for the center for all universities in the state. That way, we reduce the burden on these HBCUs or smaller universities. And so I think that, I'm repeating myself, but creating labs at these HBCUs really helped. Yeah. Creating the labs at the home institutions. So I think that helped, and we also have a pipeline. So when we have students from Benedict, I have few students from Benedict So we hired them for a graduate study, so that if they don't have a graduate program, I think that's a nice pipeline. And some students go to University of South Carolina in the PhD program. So those pipelines can be created easily.
Yes, thank you.
But the main thing is give them leadership so they can lead very well. So that creates the infrastructure, John.
Thank you, Ronnie. You know, I've traveled to various universities, and they have a lot of sophisticated, elaborate indoor and outdoor research laboratories. And I do know this is sometimes a direct result of the relationship that they have with their state DOTs. And I wanted to know from the both of you, what do you think could better position your universities with helping to build your infrastructure?
For us, that infrastructure, Ohio Department of Transportation, they gave it basically on the student support. That is together with federal highways in the summer transportation. That is the thing mostly they have done. More than that, I think we didn't get much. But my point over here it is that is when we come to HBCU itself, it is there are large HBCUs and the small HBCUs. So their issues are different. Some of them, see if you take our program, our HBCU, Central State University, basically it supports minority students, Ohio, Michigan, and Illinois, and that area. So most of them, most of the students are from Detroit, Cleveland, and Chicago. So when you come to that, so if you look into that, they have the environment engineering program. We were able to establish that with the NSF grant, a STEM grant. So now it established actually 2020, based on the American Society of Engineering Education, we graduated more minority students than any other program in the US for the minority students. So it was able to happen because of the NSF grant. So in that way, I mean, if you look, Department of Transportation has some program in that one. So that is easy for us to establish a transportation program. And then in 4 or 5 years, bringing the student there, that is initial support, then 4 or 5 years, we are able to run ourselves. That's easy. So that is one thing we can do.
I think I agree, my colleague here, it is the biggest challenge that we have right now, that funding issue, that the student prefer to go work in the Walmart than come and do in the lab because we do not have funding. And then one, and then second thing, definitely we have a bigger problem that I think the professor from Virginia Tech mentioned, that we need the big universities share their data, research data with us. And if we want to simulate something, come up with an accurate answer, so we need to have a data. Of course, we rely on all our data from the online. We have no idea. I got a training data from one of the, I think I worked in the UK university, and then we were trying to simulate it, catching the, 0-day attack. And then it was, then months in the research, we found that this rate data really manipulated by the student is not the real data. So then, I mean, hold your months that you did, you work with the student, you come up with the research, and then it's not good. So I think big universities like Michigan and then Virginia or other ones, they could share the resources with us. We just need to have some basic. And then we can go from there. I think we will make it different in the community. We will make it different in the, not only in the minority and other group that they do in the research.
Thank you. I wanted to close this up. I thought we would have a little bit more time, but we don't. But, this is a key thing with the University Transportation Centers program. We want our universities to coordinate and collaborate with one another to share their resources. This is going to benefit the students, it's going to benefit the faculty, and then it's going to benefit the nation as a whole. So I definitely thank all of you for your contributions, your participation in the UTC program, as well as your future participation in our UTC program. And I want to close out and thank you and thank the speakers. Thank you.